what goodies you'll find here. It's a lint roller.
You're not allowed to talk yet, Julie.
I'm just talking to the people
well,
next to me.
yeah, we
I
always
wasn't expecting a lint roller on the desk.
By the way, we have on the screen right now the meaning of the word recount. Recount.
Oh.
Today is
Does
a
it mean
recount.
to count again?
It does mean to count again. A second or fresh count. It's a little bit less aggressive than we had yesterday when we started. We defined the word felony.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's why we have like this calm.
Yeah. Calm. It's very relaxed. We're going to have, we need this. This should be playing during today's recount from
It
9 to 2
should.
at the, what is the place the probation facility.
Oh, is that where they're doing it?
Yeah. The juvenile probation facility is where they're doing the recount today.
Okay.
Jeff Harris and Barbara Jewel Ferguson are locked in a very tight battle for place 2 in the Kerrville City Council.
What's the
8
split?
votes.
8 votes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. 8 votes. It'll be the closest election in Kerrville history by
And
percentage.
I think
So-
they need to use that as why votes matter,
Why
right?
votes matter,
Yeah,
absolutely.
why your one vote literally
Yes.
matters.
Why your vote matters. All right. That's all we can tell you for this right now.
All right.
Very, very cerebral.
I'm getting a little
Did you
sleepy.
want a little felony action before we got started?
Never.
Okay. All right. All right. A felony's good. I mean, it's a good deal. So
I try not to.
you try to do
land
that?
there.
All right. All right. Stand by.
I'm not sure how to handle that one.
All right. Here we go. The
My mom
lead
encourages me not to
is-
have a felony.
Yeah, the lead is brought to you by Pine Plow Brewing Company of Kerrville, Texas. And we are also sponsored by Kent Spilble Ford, Fitch Estate Sales, and our good friends over at Gibson's. Wild Birds Unlimited, the Hill Country Podcast with Tom Fox, Texas Hill Country Advisors, Kerrville Pets Alive, and Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau. Arcadia Live, Killdeer Mountain Manufacturing, K-Pub Safe, Reliable, and yours. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Also, thanks to Nemke Physical Therapy. They're a sponsor now, as is Napa Auto Parts. We may see Dalton Dover today at some point. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see his golden locks.
I was going to say, Dalton in his hair.
Yes, we'll see him hopefully at some point. And then we also have Kerr County African Tile Company is one of our sponsors too. And as always, the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau is here today to help us out. And I realized I didn't turn your camera on. I've always mess up something. So with that, we have Andrew Gay. He can't see us because I don't have the camera turned on. Well, I'm really behind today. Andrew is.
It's Friday.
I know. Andrew Gay is taking notes furiously. Andrew Gay, how are you this morning, my friend? What do you got going on? Now, ladies, if you want to listen to Andrew Gay's financial advice, you have to have the headphones on. Okay.
Ooh, they're putting him on fast, Andrew. They want financial advice.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Here he is. The one, the
It
only.
better be good.
Andrew Gay. Give us the details, Andrew.
All right. Good morning, Louis. Good to
Good
talk
morning.
to you
How are
guys. I'm glad you're off to such a furious start this morning. Andrew Gay here with Texas Hill Country Advisors. We offer securities and investment advisory services.
Andrew, I
through
should clarify. Julie wouldn't let me do the felony thing like we did yesterday. So
I didn't.
Oh,
you
really?
asked if I
What?
wanted to.
she didn't want to do it. She
What,
didn't want to
but
do
what
it.
about the music?
The music? You want to hear the music real quick?
Sure, let's do the
ready,
music.
Ready, here it is.
Do it.
It's the financial update music.
Yeah. Felony! Sorry. All right. That
You
was it.
did get one chuckle over
Yeah,
here.
we got one chuckle. Yeah. Felony!
Okay. All right.
It wasn't quite
I'll,
Leslie level of fun,
No.
but yeah. Continue on, Andrew.
Yes. Andrew Gay here with Texas Hill Country Advisors. We offer securities and investment advisory service through Next Financial Group, member FINRA SIPC. This is your market update for Friday, May 19, 2023. Happy Friday, everybody. The major U.S. stock indexes closed positive again yesterday, and quite strongly, I might add. That's 2 days in a row. They're headed for a winning week and trying to stage a late week rally. So that's great. NASDAQ was the leader there, just up over 1.5% on the day yesterday. What people are talking about this morning, there was, to piggyback off of, or to tie in from what I mentioned yesterday, there's already been a group of TikTok influencers that have chosen to sue the state of Montana around First Amendment infringement.
I wonder how long that suit will last. That's
They filed it within 24 hours because if you remember yesterday morning we were talking about this, and that was the first thing you and I both mentioned is like, yeah, someone's going to sue over that. And basically what they're saying there is that the state is overstepping its boundaries to try to regulate a federally regulated issue.
Right.
So that's their initial argument. Also, the G7 summit is underway in Hiroshima, Japan. So these countries that are part of the G7 rotate where this summit is annually. Those countries, it's a group of 7. That's what the G7 stands for. It's countries like U.S., Britain, Canada, France, Germany, and a few others. They just try to get together and put their heads together and talk and try to keep up relations. And right now, the big talk of what's going on over there for them is related to China and their new security concerns. China's been focused on, like yesterday, there was a headline that Xi Jinping put his security czar ahead of some economic stuff over there. And it was kind of a signal of a shift or a validation of the shift that China has had to try to put security for their country ahead of their economic prosperity.
Well, he's worried about Montana banning TikTok, obviously. So he had to get that done. So
I think they're just, you got to remember, China's they're control freaks. They really want,
really.
In the past couple of decades, they've been, since they opened their country to trade back in, before 2000s, like in the 70s and 80s, they've been open to Western influences up to a point and letting companies in. But now some of that is kind of being backed back to where the companies are kind of questioning whether or not they should dumb down some of their exposure there, get out of there. Just because they're having some security or regulatory crackdown in China, because they've it's kind of a case of they got what they wanted from us for all these decades of doing trade and basically stealing intellectual property. And now they're kind of like, yeah, we're just going to kind of back out of the deal now and shut the door on you guys. We got what we needed, and I think we're good.
Right. And India's over there going, right over here. Hello, we'll take care of you.
Yeah. So many people. It's crazy how we dwarf some of those other countries on the global stage in comparison to our population.
Right.
But moving right along, Disney cancels the Florida facility plan after the dispute with Governor DeSantis continues. So that was a $900 million project and was going to move something like 2,000 people from California.
2,000 jobs from California that pay the median salary is $120K per year, which is like twice the median salary in Florida. So. Good job.
That deal.
Good job, Ron DeSantis.
And on the economic front, we actually don't have any economic data due out today. I think there's actually one oil.
Just think about this stuff for a second, though, Andrew. I mean, Florida's going to be devoid of things like Bud Light, any kind of music. I don't know how Miami's going to exist in Florida, quite frankly. I mean, Miami was the most remarkably gay city I've ever been to, quite frankly. I mean, it topped San Francisco. I mean, it was bizarre. So, I don't know how they're going to exist in that state, but whatever. That's their problem.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some economic issues to try to consider if you're some kind of municipality or a part of the decision-making process for the government side of Florida. So, but, Florida's always been a little bit different. They've always had their unique individual struggles, I think, economically.
Any state that allows you to bring in, exotic, reptiles to destroy your ecosystem has probably got a problem. So there you go.
Yeah, dude, it's flooded with gators too.
Flooded with gators and
slowly
lizards.
get swallowed up by the Everglades.
Well, the gators can't compete with the pythons. So there you go. All right.
I no longer want to go to Florida.
Yeah.
The weather's
pythons.
nice,
I'm gone. I'm done.
They have those giant. They have those giant rats too.
I've heard about the iguanas.
Yeah. They have iguanas everywhere. They fall out of trees. Yeah. All right, continue on.
The Nutri-Rat. Okay, all right. On the economic front, like I was saying, we don't have any data really due out today. That's key, but there are a slew of Fed members or Fed governors that are scheduled to speak today, including Jay Powell himself, who will be speaking at 10 o'clock.
You're going to be watching that, aren't you, live?
Yeah, it'll definitely be on Bloomberg and all the stuff that, because we got the big TV in our office that we just stream Bloomberg from, and then I have my own stuff. So we have constantly probably 3 or 4 information sources running at any point in time. So it'll definitely be on at least one of those. We'll be looking for hints about what he says as far as their path forward for interest rates. Are they, or are they not really thinking about where are they at with raising at their next meeting, which is June 4th. So we'll see how that plays out. And then finally, looking ahead to next week, we got the second measure of inflation that we get every month at the back end of the month. That's the personal consumption expenditures. And that is actually the one that's favored by the Fed out of the 2 that we get every month. That's due out next Friday, along with personal spending and personal income. So we'll get some consumer data as well next Friday. So let's see if maybe the markets, the equity markets or stock markets today can pull off a really nice week. It'd be great to have this 3 days in a row running rally thing that they're trying to pull off. So keep your fingers crossed that we have a good day in the markets.
Outstanding. Andrew Gay always joins us here on The Lead Monday through Friday. You can catch him for a full half hour on Mondays with Gilbert
That's
Pies.
right.
Prison Rules joins us on Mondays. Hey, by the way, on Monday, Becky Etzer will join us from the Riverside Nature Center. So you better bring some questions with you, Andrew. So
Nature
About
questions.
painted buntings. How about that?
painted buntings. You know what?
I saw a picture of one yesterday from a friend of mine that I actually had not seen one. That's as close to real life, I guess, as I've seen. So I've seen like
I've seen
pictures.
them.
Aren't
of
they
person.
just crazy beautiful?
They're-
Like, you're like, there's no way that's a real
Yes.
bird with the amount of
We
color.
had a painted bunting at our house in Comanche Trace several years ago.
Several years
I was
ago, yeah.
amazed, yeah.
Mary Muse is now chiming in on the bird watching thing. So there we go.
Oh, are you going to talk about the Kerrville Folk Festival?
Yes, we
thing?
are, Andrew. Andrew,
Hey.
I
No,
saw
we're talking
you-
about bird watching.
I saw you driving yesterday, Andrew, and you were very focused. You had both hands at 9 and 3
Good job.
on the steering wheel. You were focused ahead. I was actually honking my horn at you and waving at you, and you were focused on whatever it was you were doing. So
He's
My
so
driving
used to
instructor
people
would be
waving at
around.
him in traffic.
Yeah.
He just keeps
now
going.
next Friday, a week from today, Andrew's going to host the show because I'm going to go to court.
You're going to go to court?
I'm going to go to court because I want to
All
go. I want to hear all about.
Cue the felony
Are you ready?
music.
Are you ready for it? I want to hear all about felony. Ready? You
Yes,
ready?
I'm ready now.
I want to hear a crime, typically one involving violence, regarded as more serious than a misdemeanor, and usually punishable by imprisonment or more than 1 year or by death. There we go.
It's good the folk festival's here.
Yeah.
Maybe they can get you some stage.
It's not
presence.
their style of music, quite frankly.
I was going to say it's a little. That's a little heavy, I think,
Yeah.
for folk.
I mean, you know,
Type
the
music.
mosh pit at the Folk Fest is kind of like, you know, nice and
Yeah,
gentle.
it's loving.
Yeah, it's loving, but yeah, not our hardcore felony rock.
Yeah, Louis.
Okay.
Good vibes.
All right.
Not.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Good job, Andrew. All
Yes.
right.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you very much.
Have a great show.
You
See
know,
you next week.
you.
I'm looking forward to the Folk Festival because I had such a great time last year. I was until I had caught COVID from my stupid trip to New York, and then I missed George Eychner at the Folk Festival. So yeah. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. A couple things, just real quick before we get to Julie Davis and stuff and things that are going on in Kerr County today. The recount is underway right now. We for place 2 on the Kerrville City Council. That will take place until about 2 p.m. today, they think, and then they will be able to announce a winner. Jeff Harris has an 8-vote lead right now over Barbara Dool Ferguson. There is a chance of severe thunderstorms tonight. I'm not holding my breath for that.
Okay.
And neither no one's really, you know, it's like whatever. It just kind of seems to pass us. So
Yeah. We have an umbrella over
we have an
the
umbrella.
town.
I have a theory that I'm going to propose it to the court, commissioner's court, that every time Don Harris talks about the weather and rain, we need rain, everybody, that they fine him to stop talking about it because he's jinxing it. So that's my theory. Ingram Tom Moore High School's graduation tonight at Schreiner University.
Well, see, that could. Oh no, it's at the university.
it's in the
Never mind.
univers-
I was
it's
like, if it's
indoors.
outdoors, sometimes that
It's-
does bring
it's
the rain.
indoors,
Right? Yeah.
and
Okay, never mind.
yeah.
Right
So
during the folk festival.
yeah.
Right.
My brother had an
I wasn't
outdoor.
going to bring it up, but yeah, the folk festival
my
often brings us
brother's
rain.
first marriage happened outside in May, and it was stormy like their
Stormy.
marriage. Yeah, so
Rain on your wedding day is supposed to be good luck.
Is
I don't
it?
know about storms.
no,
but,
it was a mess.
you know, make it what you want.
Yeah. All right. So those are a couple of news and notes for the day we've got for you, and now we have the great and powerful Julie Davis to tell us about stuff and things going on in Kerr County.
There you go. All
She's
right.
the president and CEO, by the way, of the Kerrville Crafted.
Well, we're still the Kerrville Convention and Visitors
Kerrville
Bureau.
Mitchell- All right. Go continue on.
Just crafted messaging. All right. Let's see. Lots happening. The Hill Country Arts Foundation has the Of the Earth Metal and Wood show going on. Southwest Gourd and Fiber show kicks off. Fossils, Clues to the Past at the Riverside Nature Center. The 40 Years of Western Art exhibit is happening at the Museum of Western Art. On deck, free live music at Arcadia Live tonight from 6 to 8:30. There's live music at Joanne Marie and Me, Elm Waterhole, Pint and Plow, Elm Waterhole Saloon.
Where's that at?
I don't know. Well, They're the same. They're at the YO hotel. They're just 2 different times. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
right,
because
right.
it's 2 different people, 2 different times, it's
Right.
listed twice. Threw me off too. I was like, didn't I just say that?
Yeah.
Live music at Pier 27. Saturday is the farmers market from 9 to 1 in front of River Hill Mall. Remember, if we did get so blessed with rain on Saturday, they would just move it inside. So still go. Birdwalk and Talk happening with Riverside Nature Center. I'm not sure where it starts this Saturday. It says various locations, but if you call the Nature Center, they'll let
Call
you
the
know.
Nature Center immediately.
That's right. Right now, they're there waiting for you. The Cailloux Theater has a Lone Star Dance Collective happening at 11 a.m. Ridge Marketplace is having a jazz and wine music. It says jazz, wine, music, and wine tasting
Yes.
from 12 to 6. That's a mouthful.
That's a
That
lot.
is.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Blue Oak Trading has live music tomorrow. There's a Hill Country Charity Ball is tomorrow, but I think
Are
they're
you
sold
going?
out.
That's it.
Are you going to it?
I am going.
Are you?
Yes.
Can I make fun of you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Of course.
Yeah, I had to.
You will anyway.
I had to
so-
tell them that I've not heard from those people this year, and so I called the K-pop folks, and they're like, "Well, you can sit at our table."
Oh, that's
So I'm gonna sit up
nice.
there and I'm gonna have fun.
There you go.
Make fun of those people.
They're going to have dance lessons at the Inn Pub tomorrow
Are
from
they?
7 to 8. So if you're
Oh.
not at Charity Ball, go get dance
All
lessons.
right, there you go.
Live music at Trailhead. Live music at Pier 27. Lots of live music is kind of the theme this weekend. I guess we're getting geared up for Folk
That's
Festival.
right.
Into the Hills live music. There's going to be Sunday Fun Day yoga and mimosas at Arcadia Live Theater, 11 to 1. I would need a mimosa for that.
I
You
would
would do
too.
it. It would absolutely.
Yeah. Pier 27 has live music Sunday. The Glory Community Garden has music in the garden from 5:30
Right.
to 7 on Sunday. And we already talked about all those exhibits. So that's a lot of what's happening.
That's a lot. That's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We identified it earlier in the week. It was 55 things this week. Now the Folk Festival, right? Because there's like 6,000 performances a day. We're gonna really go. It's gonna be like 145 things to do in Kirk County.
Yeah. It's just a
starting
normal
next
day.
week. Yeah, normal day. Are you excited about the Folk Festival?
Of course,
Do
yeah.
you go? Let me tell you what I was. Tiffany Huff.
I need to reach out and figure out how we access our tickets again.
Okay. All right. Tiffany Huff.
I always wait till the last minute. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to do that.
Not
So,
only is there great music, right, but there's great art there, and I love all the artists.
so many good
areas.
vendors.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Tiffany Huff is one
And
of my
good
favorites.
food.
And
Yeah.
good food. I don't think I had any food last
You
year.
didn't?
No, because
Oh, we have good food
I
vendors.
came
Yeah.
late every night.
Well, it's a
yeah.
midnight snack. You get a
Well,
late
that's true.
snack.
That's true.
And they have adult slushies.
Yes.
And beer and wine.
Yes, beer and
So-
wine. They also have some of the greatest massage therapists in
Really?
Texas that come, and they set up shop, and then they just work you over, and then you're like in the chair and you're passed out, and you can just hear music. It's really fabulous. I
sounds
recommend
good.
it. I recommend
That sounds
it.
good.
Mary
I probably
Muse-
need that.
Mary Muse is here along with Deb Rouse. Mary Muse is, of course, the longtime executive director of the Kerrville Folk Festival, and Deb Rouse is taking over, and she's ready for that. We're gonna have to move that microphone close to you. This is like a musical event here. So, normally, what I would do is I would have my list of things. I always have I always try to go through the entire lineup the last couple of years I've been here, and say what do the things that I want to see. And last year, I gotta say, I loved Edie Brickell. You know what I loved about Edie Brickell is that when you hear a live performance and it sounds just like the album,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
it is.
And so she was, and she's 30 some years past when she's produced her big hits, and it was great. It was a
Yeah.
great night.
It was a great night.
I put that up there. I think that that was one of my favorite performances last year. I really enjoyed, obviously, Shiny Ribs last year. What were the name of the girls that sang the Russian music?
Nesting dolls.
Nesting Dolls. They
They
were so
outstanding.
Yes,
yeah.
they were outstanding. There were so many outstanding moments last year. I actually I had my top 10, and half of them were from the Folk Festival. But I'm looking at this right now. Okay, here's my ones I'm picking out. Obviously, Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Obviously, yes.
I'm let me see here. I'm really curious. Some of these I already know. So Trout Fishing in America, that's in the final weekend, right?
It's a
Yep.
good one.
The Brothers, the Brother Brothers, those will be there as well. But who? Let me ask you this first. Who are the ones I need to maybe never been there before that's going
Yeah.
to blow you away?
Well, for Anais Mitchell, it's actually a return because she was a New Folk winner in
Right.
2000. Was it 5, Deb?
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
And but Anais Mitchell, for those of you who pay attention to the Broadway scene in New York, she wrote a musical play called Hadestown that is #1 on Broadway and still running and just
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow.
And it is such a joy to welcome her back. And she's very excited about coming back to Kerrville. She stayed an extra day and hanging out at the camp. And we are delighted to welcome her back. And so that's a big one to catch as well. And of course, as always, we feature the songwriters and the songs, and rather than the people who made the songs popular. And so whether you recognize the names or not, it's worth the try because these people may live in obscurity on a day-to-day basis in your life, but when you hear their music, it will blow you away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the thing that for me last year. There were so many moments last year where I was just kind of blown away by stuff. Nesting Dolls was like the energy that really got to me. But now we have Deb Rouse though, and you're damaged. You've injured yourself, so Deb is taking you around. But Deb is the incoming executive director, and Deb, why did you want to take on this job? This is a big job.
It is a big job, and
Yeah.
I have big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I grew up coming to the Kerrville Folk Festival. My mother has only missed one festival since 1974.
Wow.
I first came out to the festival when I was 11 years old, and it's a labor of love for me.
Yeah.
I love this community. This community has given me so much, given my family so much, that this is my opportunity to give back to the community, I hope.
Right.
So it is a big job. And I came out of a very contented retirement to do it because I feel so strongly in the mission of this festival.
Yeah.
One of the things,
Yeah, go ahead,
Louis,
go
if I
ahead.
could,
Yeah.
I want to brag on Deb just
Yeah.
a little bit. One of the things that she brings to the table that I'm so excited about is she's actually trained as a lawyer, and when she said she retired from law.
perfect.
And so, so much of the, the things that we just try to navigate through as best we can, I think she'll really be able to do a great job with on contracting and things like that. But more than anything, Deb brings the heart of the festival that she's carried for,
Right.
over
Right.
40 years. And I think it's going to be a great transition.
It is interesting too when you have that transition. You always have that little bit of worry, that you're handing it off to somebody who is going to have the same level of enthusiasm, and obviously. You got what do you guys call yourselves? Curverts? Are
Yes.
you're a curvert,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
That's the deal.
Okay, all right. Let's talk a little bit about the lineup again and some of the things that we can expect. Anything new this year? And I'll throw that to Deb first. Deb.
New. Well, every year we have a terrific new folk lineup of songwriters. This year we had a record number of applicants for the New Folk Singer-Songwriter Competition. We had 950 people apply
Wow.
for 24 slots on the roster, so we're very excited about that. We have a few up-and-coming people in our main stage lineup, including Ray Zaragoza. She's a young songwriter who's just, I think, really poised to be a breakout star. So
a couple of people are making some comments already. Amy Goodyear's got their tickets for Anais
Anais Mitchell,
Yeah,
yes.
she's very excited. If you like trout fishing in America, see Wheatfield, according to Carrie Davis. And
That's right.
Did
Yes.
you say squirrel nut zippers? I did say squirrel nut zippers.
That is correct.
They will be here. This is the opening. What day will they be here?
I believe it is on Saturday night, first Saturday.
First Saturday night. The thing that's interesting about this, when you get out to the festival grounds, it's just one of the more cool experiences you'll ever have. And you guys have other things going on. The tree thing, the Moon Tower piece.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a whole nother festival within a festival, right?
It is. It's our late night entertainment for those who leave the theater and are heading back into the campgrounds. Right on the way, on the right is the Moon Tower Theater, and they play music from about midnight or whenever the main stage ends.
Right.
And they usually do about 4 acts throughout the night, so you can listen to music until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, see, I Constitution, I couldn't do it last year. I would start to fall apart about 11:30 or so, midnight or so. But I knew people last year who would go out and they would be out there till 4 o'clock in the morning,
yeah.
or stay up all night.
Yep.
I mean, it's just amazing how they do it out there. Who are you looking forward to seeing, Deb?
The whole lineup is fabulous.
Or do you even have time to even see anything, right?
Oh, she will watch them.
I will.
Yeah.
I will watch them all. There's so many great acts. It's almost impossible to just pick one because it's a stellar lineup this year.
It's a stellar lineup, absolutely.
Stellar lineup. Yeah.
And that's saying a lot too, because I mean, like I said, I was thoroughly entertained every night that I was out there, and I was really looking forward to the last weekend. But then I was bedridden thanks to the disease. But I mean, every weekend was just fabulous though, and the weather was perfect last year too. That's always a big concern, right? Are we going to have, what are we going to have? Weather? Are we going to have thunder and lightning?
Exactly.
But you kind of ducked it last year. It looks like you might duck it again this year.
I think so. We do believe that Big Jim has a heart for the Kerrville Folk Festival and takes care of us.
Nice. What does the future look like? I mean, you guys survived COVID. But what does the future look like? And I'll go to Deb first in that one. Deb, what do you think?
I think the future looks amazing.
Yeah.
We're 50 years old. This is our 51st in-person festival. And our mission is to continue this at least 50 more years. And we have a great mix of both young people and our traditional Kerrverts out there as we move forward into a new era. I think the future looks fabulous.
Right. Julie, last year I was looking at my notes here. I identified the Kerrville Folk Festival as our most important festival, obviously because of the length of time and the number of people that come here. I mean, what from your perspective, what does the Kerrville Folk Festival mean to the community? And I'd say I met a lot of people last year who didn't camp.
Right. That's always been true. I think there's been a misperception that everyone's out there camping the whole time, and that's absolutely not true. But yeah, it's important on so many different ways, not just attendance, but there's also a huge name recognition that happens. I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere out of Texas, and probably it hasn't happened to me, but I've heard of it happening out of the U.S., where when someone asks where you're from, and then they come back with, the Kerrville Folk Festival.
You're from that place.
I mean, I know it's been happening to me for over 20 years. So, I mean, that name recognition's been there a long time. It's also a lot of media coverage happens related to it. So outside of just thinking of hotel rooms and people in the town, there's also this big wave of
I met people from
additional
Austin.
marketing in a way.
Yeah, I met people from Austin last year who they came out, and I'm not sure, they were just sitting next to me and they start talking. They come out specifically for the Shabbat service.
Oh yes,
and I was like, this is like one of the best services we've ever been to, and that they love it, and they love the music, and then there's that kind of religious piece of it as well. And so
my first year working at the CVB, so now over 20 years ago, I helped a gentleman in the visitor center, young guy that was all the way from France. He came here for the folk festival only. He had always wanted to come, stayed all 18 days. So a young guy from France saved up his money, found his way here because of the folk festival.
Because of the folk festival.
And that's one story.
Yeah.
That's just one.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
The campground though, what is that like at night? I mean, tonight's the first night, right?
No.
Tomorrow.
We are, tomorrow is Land Rush.
Tomorrow is Land Rush.
Thursday is opening night.
Okay. All right.
So we have people arriving on the ranch right now in fact, when Deb and I were driving into town, we saw an RV parked on the side, or a travel trailer parked on the side of the road, waiting for us to open up the parking lot so they could line up in Land Rush.
What time does Land Rush start tomorrow?
It starts at noon. That's when we open the gaze.
Okay, I got to come on and get pictures.
It
of
starts
this.
right now because there's already some.
There's no save spots, right? There's everyone's first.
Well, that's the reason we do land rush,
Right.
is because there are people who feel very proprietary about their camping spaces,
Right.
but it's a it's a little bit of first come first serve.
Because you
so-
want to be like, I haven't been over all of the campsites, but I've been to enough of them to say like, okay, I want to be here because it's gonna be shady. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
the biggest one, right?
This
Shade.
place gets a better
Yeah.
breeze,
Yeah.
whatever the,
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or you like, you know, who you're around because you,
Exactly.
you
Oh,
guys
the
come
neighborhood
together
is
every
very
yeah,
important.
exactly.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Your own camp neighborhood.
and that makes a certain amount of sense. The Deb, give me your kind of your thoughts too on how you want to see, you know, it continue to grow. I mean, is the funding an important part of what you're going to do? Or
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, putting on an 18-day festival is no small feat.
Yeah.
And there are many, many moving parts, and it all boils down to, can we afford to put on a festival? So, of course, finances matter. The campground culture is such an important
Yeah.
part of what we do. In fact, there are people who come out who probably never go to main stage
Yeah.
to see music. They're there for the campground hang.
Right.
And, you know, people play all night. They go and watch the sunrise on Chapel Hill. And there are just some beautiful moments that happen out in the campgrounds around those campfires.
Right. Absolutely. The thing that I always was sort of, and I've talked about this before, and I was sort of amazed by it when I first came here. Like, oh, you know, it's working in the paper. We don't cover that Kerrville Folk Festival. I'm like, what are you talking about? Get out there. And so we went out there, you know, because there's so many interesting stories that are out there. And I went out every weekend last year. But there is that perception in the community, although I saw more people from the community than not a lot of times. But there's that perception in the community that it's not really, you know, for Kerrville residents, which is just bunk. How do you deal with that, Mary? You can probably hear that more than I do, obviously.
Oh yeah, well, you know, it's a person at a time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we did several years ago was started up the music series Music at the Mansion.
Yeah.
And people, we bring in festival artists for that series, and it goes year round, and it's been held at Shriner University, and it gives the locals an opportunity to experience that music in an environment that they feel comfortable. And the nice thing about it it has actually gotten a lot of those folks to come on out to the festival
Right.
and break through that. But truly, you know, I think one of the best answers is Judge Pollard said to me several years ago when he was doing our hearing for the mass gathering permit. And at the end of the hearing, he said, you know, I live out on Highway 16, and I've watched this parade go by my house for the past 30 years. And I've watched it transform from these VW painted buses to these $1 million rigs pulled by Cadillacs.
Yeah.
And he said, it is a different world, but I can tell you this, watching that parade, it is good for the Kerrville
Right.
economy, and I'm behind it 110%.
Well, that's good then, because
Yeah.
he can be a pill sometimes, I guess. So, you know, and I'm telling you right now, I want to see those buses there. We need to have like the best. We need to have the best old rig. That's our contest there as well. Okay.
I'll
All right.
also just point out that we do have free tickets for opening night available all over town. So many businesses are supporting this, and you can pick up free tickets from them. You can stop by the CVB, the conventioner, the
You're good. You said
Chamber-
CVB.
yeah,
You got
okay,
it.
yeah.
CVB,
It's a lot to
Chamber-
say.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yes, and come get your free tickets and come out
Absolutely.
and see what it's all
Yeah.
about, because we do care about this community.
I'm excited about who's going to make my wall this year, though.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, this is one you need to book right here. This is the one of a kind, or three of a kind. Is it one of a kind or three of a kind? It's one of a kind, and it's the Conrad Wirt, Ashley Valero, and Clifton Pfeiffer Jr. ensemble.
Oh, really?
And they've played at Arcadia, and Ashley is something to behold. So
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
Oh, she sings the original version of Hound Dog. You know, that Elvis appropriated. So anyway, Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Well,
It was so nice to meet you too.
Deb, congratulations. Mary, congratulations. It's always a pleasure to see you, and we'll see you out at the Folk Festival.
Okay.
Yes.
Look
All
forward
right.
to it.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Next up, we have mushrooms to discuss. I'm so excited about this. Come on down. George, Jennifer, sit right there. And then, George, you come over here, sit at the very end. And then bring your guest, George, and have him sit in the middle. Ted, yeah. Actually, you know what?
Yes.
You know what? Have Ted sit at the end.
Yes, thank you.
And George, you sit in the middle because you're small.
Bye. It's good to see you.
Deb, thank you. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Good to see you.
All right. Jennifer's here for it's Turtle Creek mushrooms, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And get close to that microphone. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You are working regularly at the farmers market, and how? I mean, the last time I saw you was at the old farmers market, which is now unfortunately defunct. But you're keeping busy though.
Yes.
What are you growing? What exactly are you? What are you growing right now?
So I grow tree-loving mushrooms,
Okay.
not the button or the portobellos. Those are
Okay.
all compost lovers.
Right.
So tree-loving mushrooms, I'm growing lion's mane, which is supposed to be great for brain health.
Okay.
Help with dementia or brain fog.
I got a few people. I might need that right now.
Yes.
I hope you brought some samples.
I
might need some right now. So
And I grow oyster mushrooms. There's blue oyster. There's a billion color of oyster mushrooms,
Yeah.
but I grow blue, pink, white. I grow a tarragon that does not taste like tarragon. It has, thank God, because I don't know anybody who wants black licorice flavored mushrooms.
although I like black licorice though. Yeah. I mean, I might like that. I like black licorice. I
It
wanted a few.
smells like it, sort
Does
of.
it really?
Yeah, but
Huh.
it tastes like black pepper when you eat it.
Oh.
Which is sort of nice.
Okay. All right.
And then we've got the big trumpet mushrooms and all that good stuff.
I had this little thing over at Central Provisions, which is Katie Graham's
Yep.
business, and it was like a dried mushroom that was like a cracker almost, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you can make mushroom jerky
Yeah.
and all sorts of things like that. I
Isn't it-
make
isn't it-
soups and
Isn't it amazing though? Like mushrooms are like one of the more. It seems like it's mushrooms and tomatoes are the most reviled, things. But they're so good though.
I know. Everybody, when you think of mushrooms, and I get it a lot of time at the farmers market, is do you have the good mushrooms?
And you're like, yeah. Do you have the mushrooms we can get over
All
at the folk
mushrooms are
festival?
good mushrooms,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're talking the
Something different than I mean.
psilocybin
Yeah,
type.
right. You're right.
No, but I mean, a lot of mushrooms, even though they're not that kind, they're medicinal. And
Right.
we grow ones, it's called reishi, and it's called the mother mushroom. And it helps fight all sorts of things, anxiety, depression. I mean, we make tinctures out of all these medicinal ones.
Yeah.
And they're great. You take a dropper full under your tongue once a day, and that's it. And
And you just gotta figure it out. Right.
yeah, I mean, and I like the tincture. Some people do capsules and all that, but the tinctures are better for you because they're dual extracted. So you soak them in water, you soak them in like Everclear alcohol, and then you mix them together, but you're getting all the nutrients out because some of the nutrients in the mushrooms are water soluble and some are alcohol soluble.
Right.
So
I just learned the other day that when you're cooking mushrooms, that the best thing to do is to cook them on a hot pan, but don't put any like butter or anything like that
Yes.
initially. You gotta there's like a whole thing. It's like one of those. Wow,
doing it
I was
wrong.
just.
I used to do it wrong.
Yeah.
And it works for any mushroom, but yeah, it's medium-high heat.
Yeah.
You put the mushrooms in, you let them
Just-
lose all their water,
Yeah.
and they'll start to caramelize.
Right.
And once they caramelize, then you throw in your oil or your butter or whatever.
And you know what? And it's immediate. It's such an easy thing to make too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just love it. So that's one of my things. George is over here. George, are you a mushroom guy?
He's like, well,
No,
next
I'm
to the
sitting-
mushroom lady, so I feel
I'm
awkward.
sitting here in awe. I've not heard of any of these before. The kind I get is in a can, a little jar. You take the lid off.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's disgusting, George.
I got some soup for you to try,
Yeah.
so we'll send you home with that.
There's nothing better than a cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah, I
That's
make
comfort.
a powdered cream of mushroom soup. It's
Yeah.
really good. And I have umami powder too, which
Yeah.
is a big thing that you hear about on the cooking shows, umami, which is just a savoriness. So it's a powder you put on anything that would be savory. I put it in gravy and green beans and whatever, and it's got mushrooms in it, but you can't tell.
There's certain foods like, we all had as children that were like traumatic, I don't think I had a mushroom until I was like a teen. Like it was in a salad, and I was like, what is this? And then you're a little bit more adventurous, and then it was great, and I didn't mind it at all. Yeah. Were you a mushroom kid there?
I've always liked mushrooms, yeah.
So
I don't like a tomato, though, since we brought
I
that
know
up.
that. I knew that. I knew you don't like tomatoes.
And I never have, but mushrooms I love.
Yeah.
I'll have them
They are
anywhere.
They're so good, though. How is, so are you doing just one farmer's market, or do you go to many farmer's markets? How does your life look like right now?
I do the one farmer's market, and I sell to a bunch of restaurants. I sell actually mushrooms and microgreens to Comanche Trace.
Okay.
I sell to a lot of restaurants up in Fredericksburg and Boot Ranch up there, and trying to get some more restaurants down here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, mushrooms are such a vital part of it. The question is that one of the challenges of farmers markets is that you can't really scale some of them. But do you feel like you have enough business here to kind of make it work for you, or here in Kerrville?
Kerrville, I think the Business Bureau is doing a great job trying to get more restaurants, more people into town, and I think we've got great possibilities. But we're hoping to expand too. I mean, we're not going to leave Kerrville,
right?
But we're hoping to get into Bernie and all those places. And there's a possibility, I think, of maybe doing another farmers market at some point. But it's just me right now. My husband's working out of town,
so just you.
Yeah. So I'm burning the midnight oil.
I bet you
times.
are. You have a ranch, right? Or you have a farm, I guess.
Yes.
So how many acres does it take to kind of do these mushrooms?
Not a lot, because they're all grown inside.
Okay.
So because we have to control the temperature, humidity, and CO2 levels, which you really can't do outside. I mean, when people go hunting for mushrooms, it's just opportunistic that you find them.
Right.
And I'm making that space where I can do it. I mean, we hope to build another building and combine everything that we need to do mushrooms into one building, but right now we're doing it out of a couple
of buildings, right? And that's cool. Most of those are kind of grown in a build. Most commercial ones are grown in a building.
Absolutely.
Or caves or whatever it is, maybe. So I went to a restaurant one time in Connecticut, and the lady who was the proprietor was like, you didn't really have a choice on what you were going to eat, because she was like, I foraged for this. You're going to eat it.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I don't know that I'm going to like that. And she's like, trust me, you're going to like it, and it's going to help you with your brain health. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll try it. And sure enough, it was pretty darn good, actually. But I had the idea that I foraged for this.
And a lot of places you can do that.
Yeah.
The Northwest, especially up in Oregon and Washington, and even up in Missouri, they have mushrooms called morels. And if anybody could ever figure out how to grow them commercially, we'd all be rich. But nobody has figured it out. And they forage for those, and they sell them for $40 a pound.
I bet.
Oh my goodness.
Easy.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, those rare mushrooms.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that the people really. That's why they have those trained pigs. Sure.
Oh, for truffles.
For truffles.
Yep.
Yeah. Go find those. Go find the truffle pig, and they can go find them. So, what else are you doing? So you said you were doing some other vegetables.
Microgreens.
What is a microgreen? Tell us what microgreen is.
So microgreens are just basically they're the baby of an actual plant. So I grow microgreens that actually taste like cantaloupe.
Oh, okay.
But the nutritious value of the microgreens are much better than the actual fruit.
Right.
So much more nutritious than an actual cantaloupe.
Yeah.
I mean, I grow all kinds.
What do you do with that? I love cantaloupe, but what do you do with a where do you put a microgreen in your diet?
So
Does that make sense?
How do I put it on a plate and eat it? Put it in salad. So I have radish microgreens.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Kale, arugula, all those. You could throw them in a salad. Now at Comanche Trace, I'm growing them cilantro microgreens.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to put them in their, like their fish tacos.
Oh, that's nice.
So it adds some color.
Cilantro is so good. I love
Oh
cilantro.
yeah. You know, some people hate it.
I know.
Some people love it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, here's the question of the day for you, Bob. What was the thing you hated as a child? The vegetable product you hated as a child, or things you would traditionally have like in a salad that now you can't live, that now you don't mind eating at all?
Oh, in a salad?
Yeah, or anything.
Or anything?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask somebody else. I'll
All
come
right,
back
all
to
right,
me.
all right.
Onions.
Onions.
Okay.
And you couldn't stand them as a child.
Could not stand onions.
Yeah. Now you're okay with them.
Oh yeah.
Raw or
Either way.
Either way. Okay.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
No, I like them.
Well, now we know how to cook them.
Exactly.
We
Yeah, my
fry 'em.
parents just boiled them.
Yeah,
Sorry, Mom and
it's
Dad.
so gross. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
You
like,
put some bacon on those, and
Yeah.
everything's
Yeah.
better
yeah,
with bacon.
right.
Some soy glaze,
Okay,
some
that's
cheese.
that's a strong one. All right, George Eichner.
Asparagus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Asparagus. All right.
My mama loved it, and she said it's good for you, and I said no. But
Yeah.
I love it now.
Now you
You
love
do?
it. Right. Yeah, because you're like, this makes me smell weird. It's just weird. So
Well, and now we roast
Hmm.
it and cook it. Like my parents, again, I guess they only knew how to boil vegetables. I hope they're not watching today. But at home, we roast asparagus, with garlic and
Yeah,
olive oil,
yeah.
and it tastes entirely
everything was
different.
boiled back in the day. Yeah, there was that.
Or
that-
out of a can.
out of a
My
can,
parents
yeah.
would get the asparagus in a can.
Those
and
damn
that's
boomers. Well,
nasty.
look at the boomers were taught how to cook by their folks, right?
Yeah.
And there you go. George, who is your guest with us today, by the way?
This is Mr. Ted Connerly.
Ted Connerly. Ted, what was the vegetable that you couldn't stand as a child, but now you can handle?
Well, I'm going to give you a different sort of answer.
Okay.
Neither my mother nor my grandmother would put anything in front of me to eat that wasn't good for me or taste good.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
They didn't give you.
He was
they didn't-
lucky.
You were lucky. That's pretty amazing.
And then clean your plate, right?
You clean your plate, or you sat for a long period of time.
That's right. I remember days like that.
Yeah, there's still things in my diet, like I would say asparagus and Brussels sprouts too, but I still don't see the point of peas.
I don't. No.
In
don't
uncooked. Well, like peas, I actually cooked peas are usually like the old peas,
Yeah.
Man, my dog. Thank God dogs eat vegetables because that dog ate
Eats
peas
peas.
all day long. So
Yeah. Lucky for me, my mom also didn't like peas, so she wouldn't force that on us.
I
'Cause
love-
she could
really?
sympathize that one.
Yeah.
She was like, no, you don't have to eat that.
if I want to really irritate my
My
family,
dad wasn't happy about it, but my mom.
I love split pea soup though. So there you go.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, I love it. But regular raw pea, no, thank you. Get it out of here. All right, hold that thought. We're going to talk more about mushrooms here, but before we talk about aging and mushrooms and stuff, we have a big band concert coming up next weekend for Memorial Day. George Eychner, the great and powerful George Eychner here. How have the home defenses gone, George? Have you fortified your house from any possible attacks from the nuts out there in the world?
He can't disclose his safety plan.
Yeah, and if I told you our defensive mechanism, I'd have to shoot you.
Okay,
So,
I got an idea for you. Ready for it? Here's my idea for you. I want you to get take Rudolph out, right? Because you're violating copyright with Rudolph already.
Okay.
And just put 2 50 cal machine guns on each side of it, right? That you can rotate them, and just if anybody comes and bothers you guys, you can take them out. So
We'll have to see if the police chief is okay with that.
he's okay with that. He's all right with that. I'm sure it's okay.
Yeah.
So-
Moving right along.
Move on.
No,
Mary Muse, by the way, likes the fact that I have a photo of you. She said it's right over there. She thought that was really great. And I think you asked me one time, it's like, well, why is it so small?
Yeah,
and I
sure.
said, well,
yeah, I was
a
thinking
good
maybe
question,
an 8
George.
you're so far away from. I'm so far away from you. That's the biggest I could make it
Without
without
making it all blurry.
I'll tell you what, James Partain took pictures of the symphony people a number of years ago, and I have one that's like 2 foot by 4 foot that I could bring down here. They
There
had
you
them
go.
posted-
He wants to
They had
switch
them
it out.
posted in the lobby of the Cailloux Theater.
Yeah.
Switch it out with a better picture.
We'll get a better picture of you at some point, George. But it just makes me happy that you're here. Tell us about this concert, though. This is going to be
All right.
exciting. This is something that's been in the works for a while, right?
Let me introduce Ted. Ted
Okay,
is the
Ted.
leader of the band, and he's the brains behind this.
And he eats his vegetables, so he knows what's going
Yeah.
on.
That's
So,
right. Yeah.
Ted, what can we expect from this concert?
Well, this is going to be a Memorial Day tribute.
Okay.
It's called Memorial Memories,
Okay.
and it's actually going to be about the 20th year
Probably, yeah.
that we've done this. We began doing Memorial Memories in San Antonio with the Institute of Texan Cultures about 20 years ago. And I'd say over the last 20 years, we've probably done about 14 of these all told.
Wow.
I was contacted by a gentleman who was at the time a volunteer for the museum, and then later he went on staff. But we would work together and produce this show built on the music of the World War II years, and presented at the Institute. And we did that year after year to sell out standing room only crowds. And I suppose after about 7 or 8 years, there was a regime change there at the Institute, and the new people, they weren't interested in doing that anymore. And so it was probably a couple of years after that that we decided to try and do it up here in Kerrville at the Cailloux Theater. And we've done it ever since, except when COVID came along.
Right.
It was either not possible or impractical for us to try to put on the concert with the 21, 22, 24 people involved in staging it and needing an audience.
Right.
in order to make that work. But we last did it 4 years ago, and this year we're doing what the Sentimental Journey Orchestra does best, I think, is to recreate the music of the big band there, which is roughly 1935, 1946, 47. And we'll be putting some of the hit tunes of the era and some patriotic songs together in a tribute called Memorial Memories and Music of the World War II years.
Yeah, in past times we had themes like, I think the last one we did was Letters from Home. And so all the music was based on that. We've done the theme of like Bob Hope and all the entertainers overseas. And the neat thing about this that Ted has done is this starts before Pearl Harbor in 1941 with hits that were popular when Glenn Miller was a civilian and running the band, and takes you all the way through the World War II years.
Right.
And so it's really a fantastic script. I told him I think this is the best one he's ever written. So.
Now, okay, here's the deal. Here's a trivia question for you, right? From 1944, this artist had 6 of the top 20 songs in the charts in 1944. Which artists are we talking about?
You probably know that, right?
I was like, do we get multiple choice?
Yeah, I was like, multiple choice would be better.
Okay, I'll give you multiple choice. All right. Let me see. Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Jordan, Bing Crosby, or the Mills Brothers.
Well, I would say it would probably be Sinatra.
Not even in the top. Well, he had one.
Right.
Right, but
no kidding.
Well, I was looking at Mr. Connerly to know that one, so I'm definitely out on that. Do you have any ideas, George?
George, come on, George.
I guess you've
How about Ella?
She's in there, but Bing Crosby was
Bing
the
Crosby.
one. He had 6 top 20 hits.
He was known as the voice of America.
Well,
there you go. That makes sense once you hear it, right? You're like, oh yeah.
So you got Swinging on a Star, Don't Fence Me In, with Roy Rogers and the Andrews Sisters.
Let's had Old Black Magic at that time, too.
Yeah, I'll Be Seeing You. I was also with Tommy Dorsey, Frank Sinatra, and Billie Holiday.
Wow.
And let me see here. What else we've got? Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters, A Hot Time in the Town of Berlin. San Fernando Valley, I Love You, both from Bing Crosby as well. Dinah Shore, by the way, in the top 20, in the top 25. I didn't realize she was. I knew she sang, but I didn't know she was a top 25 singer.
Yeah.
The number 1 song of that year was "You Always Hurt the One You Love" by the Mills Brothers. So,
remember that.
what can we expect from you guys to play? What kind of songs are you going to play for us? What kind of pieces are you going to play for us at this concert?
Well, we have people that follow us on a regular basis, and I think that they would probably riot if we didn't play things like "In the Mood."
In the Mood, right?
Glenn Miller's theme, "Moonlight Serenade," "Begin to Begin." We also boast one of the best drummers, probably regionally, Walter White, retired out of the Air Force, and we'll get him to do Gene Krupa's Sing, Sing, Sing,
Yeah.
which was out of the Benny Goodman Orchestra.
Right, right.
We're doing some of the Andrews Sisters selections. The Hot Time on the Town of Berlin, we did that at the Institute of Texan Cultures.
Okay.
Once with our vocal trio, that's the Memphis Bells, and they've been with us for about 20 years.
Yeah, right.
We've done Don't Fence Me In, too.
Well, Don't Fence Me In, Pistol Packin' Mama.
Yeah.
Yes, the that old Black Magic was number 13 on the charts apparently in 1943. Jimmy Dorsey and some of the Andrews Sisters were always in the top. You don't always think of the Andrews Sisters as being like one of these like best-selling acts. I mean, I've heard of them, but you never think of them that they had that kind of star power back in the day.
Oh, they definitely did.
Yeah, Glenn Miller, he gets killed, right, in World War II, right? Is that right, or does he?
Yes,
he gets shot
did.
down, or plane crashes.
His plane took off. It was a single engine aircraft, and he was flying ahead of the band. He'd been trying to get the brass to approve him taking the band over to the continent.
Yeah.
To get closer to the front lines to play for the soldiers. And he was flying ahead of the band to make arrangements for their quartering in Paris. And he flew in this single engine plane with an Army colonel and a pilot. The weather was very bad, and the best theories are that the plane iced and went into the English Channel.
Wow, right.
There's been other talk over the years. There was one theory that was kicked around, but pretty much been disproven by timelines and possibilities, that the plane was a victim of friendly fire.
Yeah.
That bombers returning from an abortive mission jettisoned their bombs over the channel only to look below and see
A plane.
a small plane toppled into the drink.
Oh my gosh.
But that's less likely
Yeah.
to have happened than is the thing that the plane
weather.
iced
Right,
and went in
right.
the channel. It had no de-icing equipment
Yeah.
on board.
Is there going to be a George Eychner solo in this particular event today, or is he just part of the band?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's promised to practice this time. Which if
God
you know
forbid.
George,
He's
I mean,
got a week, so
doesn't
he can get
practice.
it done.
Yeah, practice is one of them 8-letter words, you know.
But no, interesting thing that we're going to do. One of the sailors aboard the battleship Oklahoma that survived wrote a book about his experiences. He was actually ended up being trapped within the hull.
Oh my goodness.
And was rescued with 31 other men when they cut through the bottom of the
Yeah.
capsized Oklahoma. But they were on deck when the bombs started to fall, waiting for the Liberty boat to come and pick them up and take them into Pearl City to go to Waikiki or whatever. And one of the sailors had brought a little portable Victrola topside and was playing hit records of the day. And the record that was on when the bombs started falling was from Gene Krupp and his orchestra.
Oh, wow.
This tune called Let Me Off Uptown. Boy, that isn't appropriate. Everybody wanted to get off and, get out of there. But it featured a vocal by jazz singer Anita O'Day and a trumpet player who soloed with Krupa at that time. And it was unusual because it was a black musician playing with a white band.
Yeah.
Roy Eldridge, a really fine jazz trumpeter and a standard bearer of the legacy of Louis Armstrong and such. But he does a solo on this thing, Let Me Off Uptown. And George is going to play that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that
Right,
tune.
right. Went to high school
On
with
Sunday the 28th.
some of Gene Krupa's relatives, and one of I guess it was like a great niece is a member of the Navy band to this day, plays the trombone and frequently plays jazz as well. So I'm very familiar with Gene Krupa's work. Sentimental Journey Orchestra Memorial Memories is on Sunday at 3 o'clock on Sunday. For all of you, you can buy tickets.
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
Not
It's
this
on,
weekend, right?
on the
Yeah.
28th,
Yeah.
May 28th. Thank you for that correcting me.
Yeah.
Well done as well. And tickets are, how much are tickets? Let me see here.
They start at $17.50.
$17.50.
He's fast.
So I got to.
I think they go up to $35.
Yeah, 17. Yeah.
You can get 'em on
Charlie McElvain is our biggest purchaser. He bought 7 tickets.
7 tickets.
He's bringing his mother.
Did you bring? Oh, that's right. You brought Charlie to the Rotary Club the other day, didn't you? What was? Well, no,
He
no.
goes to Rotary.
Oh,
He
does he?
did present it.
Well,
Rotary.
he presented the Guadalupe River thing. That's right.
He's still a Rotary
You can
guy.
never keep track on Charlie McElvain.
You can't keep track on Charlie. I
George,
can attest to that.
George,
There's
can
no
I-
way to
can
keep
I
track of
answer
Charlie
that?
McElvain.
Yeah, go
about
right ahead.
this?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about the music and the big bands, and the music of the big bands was certainly provided the soundtrack for that era.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose of Memorial Day, of course, is remembrance of those who lost their lives in defense of the country.
Yes.
And we conclude the program with a tribute to our war dead and pictures of the military cemeteries. It's very respectfully done. And participating in our program is a gentleman who's been with us since the beginning. His name is Bruce Hoff, and he is a living historian, and he will be portraying General Dwight Eisenhower.
Oh, nice.
At
Nice.
this in speaking. And Bruce thinks so much of the program that he's retired now and lives in Ocoee, Florida. And he comes back from
Wow.
Florida to take part in our Memorial Memories program here at the
amazing.
Cailloux.
I just showed this video the other day to. I'll have it queued up, but I'll show it at some point. I guess we got video. I recently found out about my maternal grandfather. My mother was adopted, so we finally found out about my maternal grandfather, and he was an OSS agent, which was the people don't realize the OSS was the pre-runner or the forerunner to the CIA. And his job was to go behind enemy lines and contact French resistance fighters and things like that. And he also filmed a lot of stuff too. So who is my aunt now, she had requested these films that he had shot out of the National Archives. And in the films, we got a nice little video of George Marshall, General George Marshall, who was the supreme commander of all U.S. forces. And walking right behind him is George S. Patton. And the videos are unbelievable to watch, or the movies are unbelievable to watch. 8mm movies, and they're expertly done, and it's just really cool to see a little bit of history connected to World War II. So, all right. Thank you guys for being here. And
Thanks for having us.
now,
having us.
real quick, Jennifer, before we go, if we want to find out more about you, where do we go? How do we get there?
Oh, well, you can email me at turtlecreekmushrooms@gmail.com.
Okay.
Got a website, Turtle Creek Mushrooms.
All right.
And come out to the farmer's market this
All right.
weekend. I'll be there. It's from 9 to 1
9 to 1.
at the shopping mall. And we've got a bunch of produce vendors this week. We got some new
That's good
people
news.
starting.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, so
There's
we've
usually
got plenty of
coffee there
tomatoes.
and plenty of
Plenty of tomatoes that
Come
you
on,
love.
Come on.
Coffee.
I can introduce you to some tomatoes that are like candy.
Doubt it.
Okay. Fine.
My dad has been trying to convert me for 48 years.
I love it.
And it isn't
Hold
going to
on.
happen.
Yeah.
But come out, you can have mushrooms.
And he still says, "No, really, you do like tomatoes." And I'm like, "No, I really don't."
know.
Dad."
Jennifer, you're always welcome to come on the show. As
Thanks.
always, thank you for being here. We appreciate it very much. George, you've used your time up already. One more pitch, George. How many more? We have another week before we do the Christmas.
That's right.
Christmas lights thing.
Get your ornaments.
Get the 31st of May. We have 80 ornaments sold right
Ooh,
now.
we need 20.
we need
Come on,
20 more.
people.
So we need just 20 more.
Okay.
So we've had some really great support from HEB donated $7,000. James Avery
Wow.
Jewelers donated $5,000. Ken and Sandy Cailloux as individuals donated $10,000.
Right.
And we've really had good support. There's been, I think, total of 83 donors, and of that, there's only 37 of them are businesses.
Oh,
So
nice.
the majority of people are
People-
private citizens like
Wow.
you.
That's outstanding.
And I've not received your check yet.
I know.
I want to let you know that.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll get right to it.
So, okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for being here.
Okay.
Julie, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
we'll see you next
it's good
week.
to be back. It's been
Good to be
like
back.
a week.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Just a program note, Becky Etzer will be here talking about their Solar-bration at the Riverside Nature Center. So there we go. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. We'll have a great weekend. We'll see you guys again on Monday.
No holding back, no stepping stones, no broken promises, no busy tones. Just what it takes, just make believe.